Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. It's a sorrow Sunday here on the pod. The Yankees had a brutal weekend, but nonetheless, it was a very exciting weekend in baseball, a rivalry weekend. It was a great weekend of baseball, just not for the Yankees. So we're a little bit disappointed. But Luis, how you feeling these days?
No comment. I think you know how I'm feeling. I think you can tell the listeners how I was this weekend and how I'm feeling. I felt terrible the whole day. I thought my day was going to get better. I was hanging out. I had 2 beautiful steaks ready to go to put on the grill tonight just to enjoy. Of course, it starts to rain here. Can't put the steaks on the grill. And you know what happened.
Yeah, let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about.
You could just tell them how I was feeling, man. I am not okay. I'm legitimately not okay. This is not great, William. I don't know how you have any positive energy. I'm done with this toxic positivity at this point.
Wait, who's saying I'm being toxic positivity? I am one to realize that it is May 17th. There is a lot of season to go, but I'm not in a good mood.
I want to, dude. But you're in too good of a mood. This loss hurts. This hurts. This weekend in baseball was so peculiar to me. It's rivalry weekend, and where's our fan beefs? There was no fan beefs. It was oddly quiet for a fan weekend, rivalry weekend.
I had people posting Instagram stories at Rate Field of people getting in fights, so I don't think it was very calm in Chicago this weekend.
I mean, what is going on? What else happened? You had the weather. I mean, we always talk about I don't even know where to start today.
Let's start with the Yankees. We have to start with the Yankees.
That's just how I feel. I feel terrible. I mean, not gonna lie. You started texting me, and I'm like, I can't say anything. And then I put the Cubs game because the Cubs game was pretty good. They came back, and then that happened. And honestly, man, not to make it too Yankee centric, all my other teams that I kind of watch too, the Cardinals ended up losing today to the Royals. I had a close eye on that. Blue Jays won. Marlins lost. I don't know, man. It's tough, man. I'm hurt. Deep down inside, my heart is in pieces. This feels like I've been stabbed in the back and death by 1,000 cuts.
Well, hopefully this is a little bit therapeutic for you. Then we can talk through all of it. Again, let's start with the Yankees. They lose 2 out of 3 in Queens against the Mets in the Subway Series. The Yankees have not won a series in Citi Field since 2018, and they play each other every single year in Citi Field and in Yankee Stadium. Friday, Yankees won 5-2. Ben Rice homered. Jazz had a good game, 3-for-4. Cam Schlittler was the story there, going 6 2/3, 1 earned, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. So good win for the Yankees. Jazz was wearing Giancarlo Stanton's pants all weekend. It actually seems like that might be working. He's got a little bit going for him. And then Saturday is when it all went to where. The Mets won 6-3. Rodon was horrible, 6 2/3, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. I don't know what was going on the pass ball. He threw it to the stands. The Yankees were 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position. They had bases loaded with no outs in the 7th and did not score. Carson Bench had 2 doubles. He was 3 for 4. Luke Weaver got the hold. Devin Williams got the save. That was a terrible loss. And when you think it couldn't get worse, the Yankees lose 7-6 on Sunday in 10 innings. David Bednar came in and did his thing. He blew the game, gave up a 3-run jack to Tyrone Taylor, a hanging curveball, Bednar's worst pitch, and Taylor deposited that pitch into the left field bleachers. Yankees got no runs in the 10th. And Bench walked it off with an RBI infield hit in the bottom half of the 10th. And the Yankees fall to 14-13 on the road this season. They are the second worst team on the road this year. With the Manfred rule, they are terrible on the road with that as well. And they're the second worst team on the road with the Manfred Man rule since that was implemented a couple years ago. And look, it's feels like this is the low point of the season. The Yankees are still 9 games over 500, but there are a lot of cracks starting to show. We can discuss them here now, Luis.
Okay, number one, let's just get this to it. Today's game, it falls squarely. I'm gonna be honest, Aaron Boone. Let's clap it up. I don't know. Were you watching Yes telecast today?
Yeah.
Michael Kay, David Cohn, and Paul O'Neill were Aaron Boone managed a perfect game damn near today with that inning. I think it was the 6th or the 7th where he put in Schumann, all the pinch runners, pinch hitters, the big inning where they went up 5-1. It was perfect. Everything worked out. And then immediately when Michael Kay in the 9th inning said, Boone's managed a great game. He's pushed all the right buttons today and everything. Now you hand your ball off to the closer and get you 3 outs and take us home. And when he said that, I'm just like, oh no. And then they got 1 man on base and 2 men on base. And then the runners moved there. I'm just like, oh man. And of course, it had to be Tyrone Crawford, who's hitting 188 this year. Today's loss.
Wait, who's Tyrone Taylor?
Yeah, Tyrone Taylor. Yeah. Today's loss falls squarely on Austin Wells. And that's a conversation I want to open up tonight on the podcast. I mean, we're going to talk about the Mets later. Congratulations, New York Mets fans. You won your Super Bowl. You actually have some life to your season this year. Now, I think they're like, what's the stat was that they were at 8-4 or 8-5. Now they're 9-5 since in the past like 2 weeks. Like they're turning it around. We talk about June 1st being that like hypothetical like cutoff date in which teams decide if they're going for it or not going for it. And you look at the standings right now for the Mets, they're right now, the NL East is tough. They're in last place of the NL East still with 20 and 26, but they're riding high now because you beat the Yankees. You own New York for the weekend being, in parentheses. You own the weekend, own the city. You swept the Tigers. And then, you have 2 straight series wins. Like, I think that's the silver lining for the Mets. You have a little bit of momentum going into this week. You get the Nationals to start for a 3-game set in Washington and the Marlins. So it could be that the tides are turning in Queens. You got a couple rookies that are putting it together. Carson Bench had a good weekend aside from the bloop that he missed yesterday and last night's Saturday night's game. And then Ewing looks like a good outfielder that's adding juice. So, I mean, looking forward to the Mets season. We were saying it was a lost cause. It was going to be tough. They actually have momentum. And guess who their get-right team was? It was the New York Yankees at the hands of Austin Wells. That's going to be a common theme we've seen with teams this year in Major League Baseball. But when you look at Austin Wells today, I think that's one of the guys that doesn't get enough heat for how he's been playing this year. He's hitting 173 with a 292 OBP, 264 slug. And, in that situation, the telecast highlighted, you pitch to the scoreboard and Bednar pitched to his strengths, which at that time, his splitter curveball, yes, are his strongest pitches, but you pitch to the scoreboard. A single or a double doesn't hurt you. Yes, it stinks because it's a 6-4 or a 6-5 games after the hit. But the only thing that can hurt you at that point with 2 outs is a home run. And the decision by Austin Wells to fire up a curveball to start out the at-bat is just, as a hitter, William, put yourself in the mind as a hitter. You know that the curveball is his best pitch and his splitter. So you're probably going to be sitting on that and hoping you get one of those and he lobs one up and you hit it. I mean, it's either that or a fastball. And I think knowing the situation, he's going to go to his strengths. He's going to pitch to his strengths. And again, they didn't pitch to the scoreboard. Like then go fast forward it to the 10th inning. Anthony Volpe, I will not speak any bad slander on you for the weekend that you had. And William has text messages saying what I said about Volpe this weekend. Again, he gets on base. There's a man on third. And all Austin Wells had to do is just work in at bat and just get a single. And what does he do? He goes first pitch hunting and he grounds out into a double play, ends the inning, and the rest is history. It's just like, when the Yankees go into extra inning games, I have no confidence in this team. It just feels like it's just like extra innings is just delaying my bedtime or delaying the misery. Like it's a slow, painful death. Like I would have rather just it been a bases loaded grand slam and just had to hop onto Twitter and read all the nonsense that's on Twitter about the grand slam. But no, it's death by 1,000 cuts, and that's how it is. And Austin Wells, he's a great defender, but I mean, when you're the Yankees, you can't be hitting 173, and it falls again into the problem of this team that the back half of the order is not hitting. Trent Grisham's not hitting. Austin Wells isn't hitting. JC Escara is not hitting at all. And then you add Anthony Volpe to the mix. it puts a lot more pressure on those big guys to shoulder the load. And again, you look at Saturday night's game to wrap up my monologue here. Why are we? It was a bases loaded with no outs, and everybody's putting out their ace wings. Like, you need to just get a single, get on base, find a way to move the train down the line. And that's what was the most beautiful thing about today's game that the Yankees had. That wonderful. Then I can't even say wonderful, it's ruined. That wonderful sixth inning that, they just moved the train. It was a sack, it was a bunt. Then you had a sack fly, a walk. It was like the little things. It wasn't just the mashing Yankees today. And of course, they played a great game. And of course, Austin Wells, it falls on you, big guy.
Yeah, it's the bottom half of the lineup inspires absolutely no confidence in any Yankee fan right now. There's so many black holes. And the thing is, we're not asking for the bottom half of the order to be MVP caliber players. We just want them to have good at bats, try to draw walks, get on base, see a lot of pitches, don't strike out every single time. And they're not offering anything. The bottom half of the lineup is not offering anything right now. I will give credit to Volpe. He had a good weekend. I think he was like 2 for 4, 3 for 4 today with a bunch of walks, had the clutch hit to score a couple runs there. So no shade to Volpe. He played well this weekend, but Wells was terrible. And you said it, calling the curveball there was the wrong move. Swinging, I think it was the first pitch when he grounded into the double play in the 10th.
Yeah, it was an upstairs fastball that he just swung on and just, right to the second baseman.
Yeah. McMahon, I mean, what a terrible trade that was. And look, that's the thing with the Yankees too this year is the McMahon trade is not working out, but also I point to Trent Grisham. And look, I know he's played good defense at times this year. He had a great catch on Sunday, making the diving catch, saving some runs. But when you're paying a guy $20-something million, the qualifying
22.
offer, and he's $22 million giving him the qualifying offer, he's just not hitting to that level. And think of what the Yankees could have done with that $22 million. And the main thing with Grisham that makes no sense for this lineup construction is he's a left-handed hitter. There are so many left-handed hitters right now in this lineup that Aaron Boone is kind of limited in what he can do with lineup construction. They're so left-handed. And when they face left-handed starters, like they did on Saturday, I know he came in like the second or third inning, whatever, David Peterson. It's tough for the lineup when you're stacking so many lefties on top of each other and so many lefties that strike out a ton. Ryan McMahon. I don't want to give too much hate to Spencer Jones, but he is a strikeout machine very early in his career, so I'm going to give him some time. Austin Wells, another lefty. Ben Rice is great, but he's a lefty. Grisham, Bellinger, Jazz strikes out a ton. Like they have so many lefties that just strike out a ton. And I guess that kind of goes into the bigger theme here for me is like, you need Stanton back desperately. You need Caballero back desperately. Because Caballero, even if he's not a world beater, he gives you those tough at-bats. He's one of those few guys that'll grind at-bats. Yeah. And I'm not that devastated with this loss because I'm not getting my hopes up at all for the Yankees this year heading into the season. I said it. This was the first year since 2017, ironically, where I felt like this team had no chance of winning the World Series. And I still feel, maybe not no chance, but I felt like the Yankees did not have a solid chance of winning the World Series last year because we saw this team do it last year and they were so far away in the DS against the Jays. I don't know how you can see and watch that series and be like, yeah, let's try this again. And it's the same story, specifically with the lineup where there's so many black holes, so many guys that just strike out, and offer nothing productive for the lineup. They don't get on base. They don't grind you down. They don't, hit singles, get walks. Like it's just strikeout. It's so frustrating to watch. And honestly, like the Yankees are not a fun team to watch. It's a chore to watch this team right now, which is a shame.
It is such a home run or bust team. It's just like you watch these at-bats going up to that point. It's just like you're watching the at-bats and just like they hunt the pitch in the first 2 or 3. It's just like, can we work the at-bats? It's like, for example, who had a beautiful at-bat? And I don't know, no shame on the Mets. Like, I know I want to like rip the Mets apart, but like they played also an okay game today. But like, for example, Carson Bench in the latter half of the game had I think it was a 6th inning where who was up against Jake Bird, and he drew like 9 or 10 pitches. Like, why can't we get Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones to draw 10 or 11 pitches? I literally thought, like, and there was runners in scoring position, if I remember correctly. I literally thought, like, oh, here we go. Like, he's seen everything that Bird's pitched. Excuse me. He's seen everything. And I was like, he's definitely going to find a way on base. Full count. He's either walking or he's getting a single and driving the run home. Luckily, Bird struck him out with the sweeper down in the zone. Great execution. But like you said, it's a chore to watch this team. And like, I know you talk about McMahon's defense. If you talk about his defense, and like, yeah, he had a nice bunt today, but it's just tough. The money and everything, it's tough. I don't know, man. It hurts, man. To me, it hurts. I know you're detached. You're emotionally detached, but it's the Mets. And losing to the freaking Mets is just a pain. It's like your little freaking brother. Like, you know, I just can't.
Yeah. I know. I am emotionally detached from this team this year because, again, I don't think they can win because they didn't do it. The pitching is good enough. The starting rotation is good enough to win a World Series, but everything else is not good enough. The lineup is the bullpen is terrible.
Go ahead. Can I go ahead? Can I talk about the bullpen today? I feel like, again, I don't know, but I think like Michael Kay in the booth, they're always cursing the team because then they're like, you have that big 6th inning where you go up 5-1, and then they're in the booth. They're like, oh, they got to get a quick inning here or get 3 outs without any runners because you want to, you know, crush them here. You don't want to give them any signs of life. And of course, you know, they come back that inning, they get 2 in, and it's a 5-3 game. And instead of it, you know, being a 5-1 game where, you know, you literally need 4 runs, you need a grand slam to tie it. It's a lot more to do. They're only in it with a bloop and a blast. Thankfully, the Yankees got an insurance run. They got the 6th one, but, you know, that just gave hope. And, you know, we heard that place was rocking this weekend. Like, Citi Field was up for it. The fans were up for it. They're always going to be up for it for a series against the Yankees. But, again, my only gripe was that, you know, the bullpen just doesn't have it, man. It's tough, man.
They're overworked. I think they're overworked. I mean, Bednar's overworked, and you were texting about it. Like, you got to let Elmer grow. You got to give him the opportunity to grow. And they took him out early, in my opinion, too early. I know Soto was up in that situation, but you're asking a lot of the bullpen to come in the 5th inning there when they're already taxed. You have to get however many outs it was at that point. Like, they were asking for a big outing from the bullpen. And to Boone's credit, it almost did work. You put yourself in a situation to win the game, and the closer didn't get it done, and that's frustrating. But I would have, hindsight's 2020. I think they should have given Rodriguez a little bit more run there.
Another inning at least. And I think let's talk bright spots, both teams. I don't want to make this, whatever, but Elmer looked good. I think Elmer is one of those pitchers that, he needs like that first inning to like settle in. And I feel like as an opposing hitter, I feel like you have to, like, if you see Elmer, you have to attack him, because if he settles in, you saw he would, like, that at bat with Juan Soto, his second at bat. Did you saw the face he made? Juan Soto was like, damn, like what was this guy throwing? His curveball was working, and that's one of the most underrated pitches aside from locating a fastball. But if you can drop a curveball in for strikes, like, that is just such a demon of a pitch. And he had the fastball, cutter, sinker. The sinker has some good run to it. Like, he looked pretty good. Again, I think again, we talk about this, and I told you, I just think the biggest thing with the young guys is, Yankee fans want, Dominguez, Jones, Cruz, these guys to be the next, gen guys. But the problem is they're not giving them run to grow. Jones, makes a great defensive play. And what happens at the end? Oh, they pull his bat for Goldschmidt. Understandably, it's Paul Goldschmidt, and Paul Goldschmidt's bat is on fire right now. And I think you have to think about a world where you put Rice back at catcher and get Goldie at first base just to get him more at bats at this point. But I don't know. It's just Spencer Jones, Dominguez, like, they don't get we don't give the young guys enough chance to grow and like learn by fire. Like, if you're gonna put a young guy in, just understand, like, you're gonna grow. Like, I know that there's that Marcus Semien double, and Spencer Jones went to the catcher. He threw it straight to the catcher, and it was offline. That's a teaching moment. He had to throw it to first base to hold the runner at third. And again, those are the moments that we want to see these young guys have. So it's like teaching tape so they can grow and get ready for the bigger moments coming up in October.
Yes, but the thing is, the Yankees, even veteran players, make mistakes and throw it to the wrong base. Mainly Dominguez. Like Dominguez was really bad at that last year. I don't know if the Yankees are teaching that stuff at the major league level. I really don't. So that, that was a frustrating series. I do think Elmer is good. I think he deserves another start. I think he's lined up right now to start Friday against Tampa, which will be a tough start. But we didn't talk about Fried. Fried's going to be out for a long time. Elbow bone bruise or something. Going to need someone else to step up.
But that's pretty encouraging. And I mean, Cole looks pretty good in AAA right now. Cole was touching upper 90s this weekend when he pitched out in his start in AAA. He has one more rehab start to go, so that'll be good to get him back probably after Memorial Day, likely. And so, again, it's Hunger Games in the rotation. Picking your five is going to be a flavor of the month, I feel like. I feel like the only guy safe right now is Schlittler and Fried when he comes back, which at this point, I keep Fried on the IL till July.
Definitely don't want to rush him back.
Don't
got Tommy John when he was a prospect at 14. Yeah, you don't want to.
He had forearm tightness with the Braves. Just hey, you're going to need the three of Cole, Fried, and Schlittler in the postseason. That's what you're playing for when they get.
Yeah, if you can have that three in the postseason healthy, and they do something at the deadline to address the catcher position, get a right-handed catcher in there, and hopefully I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's in them to cut down on the strikeouts a little bit. And like today, that Ryan McMahon sack bunt was their first sacrifice bunt of the entire season.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I was like that whole inning was just beautiful. It's like what we've been crying as fans for the past or just neutrals. Just like it's beautiful. If the Yankees are all in, I'll say this one thing: they go trade for Josh Hader if he's healthy. Go do it. Go get Josh Hader. Move Bednar to the setup role. You got Cruz in the 7th with Hill to mix in, Hedrick in the 6th if you need him, and then whoever in the rotation doesn't make it in there mixed in, and you're gonna get Lagrange out here. That's a dude. Go get Hader. Go get a lights out pen. Guys like Josh Hader. Again, we have this combo almost every month on the pod. There's only like 3 or 4 guys that are shut down closers, and he is one of them. And yeah. I think you do it.
He's got to come back healthy with the bicep thing. I think he's going to come back in like just over a week or so. So we'll see what he looks like when he returns. There'll be some runway before the deadline. The good news for the Yankees is that the bullpen is the most addressable thing at the deadline. That's where you see the most trades happen. Catcher, maybe not as much, but you can get like something in there to fix the catching position because it is a weakness for this team. And one other thing on the Yankees before we move on is I do feel like the baseball IQ is questionable for the Yankees. I mean, look, prime example was in the 10th inning, Max Schumann, runner on second, Manfred man on second, no outs. And he squares the bunt multiple times, and he takes multiple fastballs right down the middle. What are you doing? I mean, where else do you want it? That's the perfect type of pitch to bunt against Devin Williams. He only throws 2 pitches. It's not rocket science. You kind of know what's coming. And he doesn't get the bunt down. And, I don't even know if you should be bunting in that situation. You got guys throwing balls to the wrong men when you're throwing the ball in from the outfield. But the Schumann thing was like, what are we doing here? And then you got the Wells calling the curveball in the 9th inning against Taylor. They got to fix some of that stuff. I don't know if they teach that stuff at the major league level. I just saw that Gavin Sheets blast. So I don't know.
I want to expand on that point and talk about the Mets before we move on. I just think the biggest thing, like I said, I don't think catcher will get addressed, unfortunately. Again, there's been comments about the catching position, and catching position is a hard position to come in mid-season. Learning a whole new staff, rotation. Everybody's crying out for Ryan Jeffers, and Ryan Jeffers is a big bat, but that's the last thing this lineup needs. And I know last night you were frustrated. I was frustrated. I was at a going away party last night. And we were talking about the whole Grisham contract and they could have gotten Murakami. The problem is the lineup does not need mashers. It needs grinders. It needs guys that can get singles. and keep moving down the line. So again, big weekend for the Mets. Again, I think the big lining for the Mets is, like I said, they got a little bit of momentum. They're going into two easily winnable series here against the Nationals and the Marlins that you expect them to do well on. And then they get the Reds, which will be tough, and then the Marlins again. So you got a nice little 2-week stretch that you can stack some wins and you can find yourself back in that conversation for a wild card spot. And I think that's what you do. It seems like the young guys that they've brought up have brought some new juice to the team with Ewing. And so it's going to be a matter if their pitching can hold up. And if they can, again, I think the biggest problem with that team has been Bo Bichette, and the big ticket signings have not been producing at the plate. So, again, you got a good weekend to get right before you go play the Reds, which I feel like if you can beat the Reds, win that series, you're right in the mix. Like, you're right where you want to be by June 1.
Yeah, they can absolutely get to where they want to be this summer. It's just they're going to have to play at a 90-something win clip to get back in the hunt, but they can do it. Once Bichette gets going, hopefully he will, man. He's looked rough. Dropped the pop-up today. But some of these young guys, like you said, bringing them some energy. Now, of course, losing Clay Holmes this weekend is devastating. So that, he was their best pitcher this year so far. They need to get Lindor back from the calf injury. But they have the talent to do it. Can they? I don't know. We'll see. But
it's just you gotta go game by game. And look, 100%. They have an opportunity tomorrow against the Nationals, and then they get the Marlins. Like, series by series. If you can think about it, if you can get those 2 series wins and you play Cincinnati the week after at home, I think you like your chances.
Yeah, good stretch of baseball here. Good schedule stretch for them coming up. Can we talk about the Crosstown series, Cubs-White Sox? I think this was the best series of the weekend.
What was Kayla's thoughts this weekend? Can we get Kayla's Cubs thoughts?
She was devastated today. No, she was watching. Sunday, she was devastated. We were both in the pain bus because both of those losses today for the Yankees and the Cubs were pretty devastating. So I wasn't with her today. She had work, but we were texting, obviously. And yeah, she was pretty upset about the Cubs loss today. So the White Sox won the series 2 out of 3. Cubs won 10-5 on Friday. The Cubs went kind of nuclear against the Sox bullpen, pulled away late. And then on Saturday, the White Sox had batting practice on Jameson Taillon. He gave up 5 home runs. Angel Benintendi, Miguel Vargas, Murakami had his first career multi-home run game, up to 17 on the season. And then also Colson Montgomery homered. He's up to 13 on the year. Davis Martin gave them a really good start. And then Sunday, the White Sox won in one of the games of the season, honestly, 9-8 in 10 innings. Some late inning fireworks. Tristan Peters hit a 3-run homer to give the Sox a 7-4 lead in the 8th. Then Michael Conforto, had a 3-run home run in the 9th off Sir Anthony Dominguez to tie it at 7. And then Edgar.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because you said Miguel Conforto. You translated the name like Michael to Miguel Conforto.
Is that actually what?
Yeah.
Is that right?
But Miguel, okay. Yeah. Like William in Spanish would be Guillermo.
Guillermo,
Michael would be, Michael is Miguel. So congrats. You've given him some spice.
And then Edgar Carroll walked it off with a 2-run homer off Ryan Rawlston in the 10th inning. It was an electric series, sellouts every single game. The get-in price for like each of these games was like over $100 at Rate Field. The crowd was great. I mean, devastating series loss for the Cubs, I got to say, because the White Sox are coming on this year. They're a playoff team. There's some buzz on the South side, and the Cubs have really been struggling of late. And I don't know, the Cubs or the White Sox fans kind of have the bragging rights after this series this weekend.
I mean, I think the biggest thing we talked about the Cubs last time is how they've had a tough month of May. I mean, they're 4 out of their last 10. They're not a good road team, which is really weird. It's just kind of like that's something I want to like learn more about, like the psychology of like road and home and away. I know, like obviously your fans, your routine, how you get to the ballpark, whatever. But like for example, Cody, have you seen Cody Bellinger's home and away splits?
Yeah, it's not pretty.
It's not pretty, but it's just like it's the same thing with the Cubs. The Cubs are 18-5 at home and 11-13 on the road, which is quite the stark difference. The White Sox, they're 14-10 at home and they're 10-12 away. That's kind of like adds up, but But I mean, the Sox, like I said, they have some talent. Colson Montgomery has 13 home runs this year, 864 OPS, a 138 WRC plus, and 2.1 F4. Like he could be. They have like a nice little core down there. Obviously, they got to go some pitching. They got the number 1 overall draft pick, which that's another debate for another day that you and me have to dive into. But I think I learned more about the Cubs as far as like it is so desperate that they need starting pitching and some sort of pitching at the deadline. Like they need to go get the biggest fish to add to that rotation because that rotation right now is not made for October. Like you can have the best offense, but again, what wins in October? It is pitching. When the weather gets cold, especially in Chicago, you're going to need pitching because those bats are going to get cold. We saw how those bats started out the year in the whole major started out a little bit cold, and now they're turning on because it's heating up. But again, they need to go get themselves some arms. You cannot win with a rotation of James Tyone, Edward Cabrera, and they don't even have Cade Horton. Justin Steele should be back. They had that little freak injury. Who had the freak injury? Matthew Boyd-Crick had the freak injury this week with whatever. So they just need it. And in terms of the White Sox, I really want them just to they're a team that I hope they don't do anything at the deadline. Like I hope they just stand pat, ride the wave, because you don't want them to sell. Number one, you don't want to sell high in your assets because you have a good thing going. And two, you don't want to buy because if you buy early, you set your future back. And I feel like when you look at that core, that old core they had with Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu and all those guys, I think that problem was that they just, I don't know. That was just an interesting time.
This feels different. This feels better. This feels more sustainable. And I agree. I don't think they should sell at the deadline. I also don't necessarily think they should buy because, that would speed up the rebuild, to your point. One point I do want to make is, and PCA is an incredible player, but PCA defensively, PCA kind of got anointed like one of the guys in Chicago. Like he's hanging out with Caleb Williams, Connor Bedard. They're all hanging out.
Matas Buzelis. It's like the future of Chicago sports.
Yeah, Buzelis. They're all going out to these Chicago bars and, restaurants, whatever. They're, showing up to all these sporting events. Where's the love for Colson Montgomery, dude? Like he should be, or Murakami too. I mean, both of those guys should be in those circles. And don't get me wrong. Again, PCA, incredible defensive player, but it's not much more besides the defense. I'm sorry. At this point, I think we can acknowledge the fact that he's probably not going to be a plus hitter in his career. I think first half last year was maybe a bit of an anomaly. Again, he is like a Hall of Fame caliber defensive player. But where's the love for Montgomery and Murakami? Like the South Side, there's some buzz there. These guys got some juice. And Colson Montgomery is a legitimate building block for this White Sox team. He's one of the better shortstops in the league this year so far.
What are you trying to say? You're trying to say that PCA should stop hanging out with Caleb Williams, Buzelis, and Bedard out and should focus on baseball?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
one of those.
I'm saying, why is he that guy that gets to be like one of the main athletes in Chicago when there are arguably better young players on the White Sox?
Well, better young players. Whoa, that's a claim. That is a big claim. But let me just say this.
What does PCA do besides defense? I'm just saying.
Speed.
Yeah. Okay.
He has aura. He was on WBC.
He has aura.
That's true.
He's hitting 234. He's fighting to hit above the Mendoza line.
Well, my point is with I just kind of I feel like Chicago is one of those towns that it's just like you're a Cubs fan, you're a Bulls fan, you're a Blackhawks fan, and you're a Cubs fan. Like the White Sox don't factor in that mix. I feel like it'd be like in New York. Like the most common four team fans are the Giants, the Knicks, the Yankees, and the Rangers. Like the Islanders, the Mets, the Jets, and the Nets kind of don't factor into that mix. It's kind of like the White Sox kind of don't factor in that mix. The Cubs are the historical franchise. They have the aura, the marketing. Like they have Wrigley. Like the White Sox are on the South Side. It's not as posh. It's not as cool to be a White Sox fan. It's grittier. It's more blue collar workman type. Just think about it like that. That's how I think about it. And I just think it doesn't like factor into that mix. I
And
just
I
feel
think
like,
that's
look, I just feel like, look, if for example, if I'm a celebrity or a big athlete in another sport, who am I trying to go see? I'm trying to see the Cubs because that's
hey,
like historical. That's the historical team.
the Pope is a Sox fan. The White Sox have the most famous baseball fan in the world rooting for their team. I'm just saying.
I know. They have some type of superpower right now, but my whole point is, it's just like if you're coming in throwing first pitch, where would you rather throw first pitch? Right field or Wrigley Field?
I know. The Cubs
I
have
think I think it's a marketing thing too. Like aside from like team success, it also factors into marketing, which I think that'd be something to look into.
And let's not act like the Cubs are some historically great franchise. Like they went 114 years, or whatever it was, without winning a World Series. Like they're historically one of the worst franchises in the history of the sport. But to your point, White Sox aren't very good either. Cubs got the Wrigley aura. Fair enough.
It's like the
Now,
Jets. It's like the Jets too. It's like the Jets. Why do we have so many Jets fans, even though if they've been historically one of the worst franchises? And also the Browns. The Browns also have a crazy amount of fans. Like there are more Browns fans than Jaguars fans. And I know that's because, team existence, but just think about that as well.
Midwest, Ohio's a crazy for football state. I think that kind of is part of the factor there. On the Cubs, though, I mean, bullpen stinks. Rotation, I don't know how long it's going to be able to hold up with kind of Shota being the one elite arm in the rotation. I mean, we saw Tyone get pinataed on Saturday. It was batting practice for the White Sox. Gave up 5 home runs. The lineup is okay. I would really like to see Bregman get it going at some point because right now I don't think there's one person in that lineup that you can point to and be like, that guy is scary. We have to pitch around that guy. I don't think they have that MVP caliber player in their lineup, which I think is something that you need to have if you want to be a World Series caliber team. Think about every team that's won the World Series over the last however many years. They've all had that elite top 5 hitter in the league. Cubs don't have a top 10 hitter in the league this year so far, in my opinion. And I think the Brewers are going to win the division. I'll say it right here, right now. May 17th, my claim is that the Milwaukee Brewers will win the National League Central. We'll get to some of the other teams a little bit later, but I think the Brewers are a better team. And they look, we'll see it this week. We'll see it for the Cubs. This is going to be a tough week for them. They got the Brewers for 3. And dang it, Mizorowski got moved to Tuesday. I was going to go on Monday, but probably not anymore. But they're facing Sproat, Mizorowski, and Kyle Harrison. That's a good 3 for Milwaukee. Cubs are running out there, Shota, Ben Brown, and Edward Cabrera. So this is a huge series. Brewers are game and a half back. It's early, but this is a huge series, man. I'm telling you, the Brewers can take first place in the division after this week.
Yeah. Bright side on the White Sox also, Kyle Teal. He's working his way back from injury, and Brady Montgomery are both from AAA. So you could have all the kids up. And you know what? Funny, I know you're a history head, but what's the one thing they say always in history, like in historical books?
What, like history repeats itself?
Exactly. The core of the White Sox is built off the Garrett Crochet trade. The core of the last White Sox team was built off the Chris Sale trade.
True. What are you trying to say? That it's not going to work out?
No, I'm just saying it's just kind of funny. Like, Kyle Teal, Chase Mydroff, and Brady Montgomery are all going to be in the majors by the end of the year. Hope so. And the Yohan Moncada trade was the same deal.
Yeah, like the White Sox right now have 5 top 100 guys. Noah Schultz is already up. They got Caleb Bonner, Brandon Montgomery, Noah Schultz, who I mentioned. Hagen Smith, the lefty out of Arkansas. We should see him up this year. He's got a 3.90 ERA through 9 starts in AAA. And then the other one is Billy Carlson, a shortstop who won't be up this year. But they also have the number 1 pick, which we'll see who they go with in June. The future is bright on the south side, and they got Murakami, who's bringing the juice. So I'm excited for the White Sox. I'm happy for their fans.
You want to go around the horn now quickly to some series before we touch on a couple of deep dives?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, you talked about Milwaukee. We had the border battle between Milwaukee and Minnesota. The Brewers won 2 out of 3. Brewers won on Friday 3-2, Saturday 2-1, and the Twins won today 5-4. Big takeaway: Ryan Jeffers hit a homer today, homer number 7. I feel that's going to be a name we're going to hear all summer long on Twitter and social media. And Joe Ryan had a great start on Friday, 6 strong, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. William, any takeaways here?
Yeah, that's a good point on Jeffers. He's a pending free agent, so I think he is almost certainly going to get traded. And look at his Avant page. It's beautiful. This guy is the perfect profile for the New York Yankees. 16% strikeout rate, ranks in the 80th percentile. He is a right-handed hitter, which the Yankees need at the catcher position. He walks at a high clip, 15%, which is in the 93rd percentile. All of his Savant key metrics are red. Barrel rate is good. Average exit velocity. He's hitting 294 with a 948 OPS, 7 bombs on the year. Yankees, go out and make a trade for this guy if you're serious about winning the World Series. I will continue to beat that drum until it happens. He's a free agent on the Twins. They're not going anywhere. They're selling. You have to make it happen. That is my biggest takeaway. You can even do a 2-for-1, or not a 2-for-1, but you can go out and get Byron Buxton in that trade too, because you need right-handed hitters. The Yankees have way too many left-handed hitters.
No. Please, I will put my hands on the table, and that's where I stop. Do not bring Byron Buxton onto this team. Please.
Why?
Do not.
He's making $15 million. He's making $15 million. That's nothing.
I don't care. I don't want the profile of bat in the lineup. I don't want that profile of bat of the lineup. I don't. Give me some guy who's like a 10 or 15-year MLBer that hits 300 or damn near 300 and just gets singles carried. Give me Luis Reyes. Hey, bro, get Luis Reyes out there at center field, please. Get him to roam center field at Yankee Stadium, please.
Okay, if you want the bat in your lineup, what position are you playing him at? There's no position on the field for him. Arise.
Can he play third? Can he DH? We know Giancarlo's due another IL stint damn near here soon.
Can't rely on him being healthy for the playoffs.
Hey, you trade Jazz for a top end reliever, and then you get Luis Reyes at second.
I don't know if I want him at second base. You could have had Harrison Bader in center field this year instead of Trent Grisham, and Harrison Bader's on a 2-year, $20 million deal.
Hey,
you could have had Harrison Bader for half the cost.
But bro, Trent Grisham, Eric Andre out there in the outfield, Mr. Nonchalant, he just gives me another sense of like security back there, the way he defends it. But regardless, talking about Milwaukee, I don't want to talk too much trade deadline because that's hypothetical fan speak. Let's give a shout out to the Milwaukee bullpen. They're one of the better bullpens that doesn't get talked about. They're constantly producing some demons out there in the in their system. I mean, Aaron Ashby, we saw him live, William. Saw him live last week against the Yankees. He has a 2.17 ERA, 29 innings pitched, 44 strikeouts, and he's 8-0 through 21 games. That was as of Friday. Right now, the Milwaukee Brewers as a bullpen staff ranks 5th in WAR with 2. Their FIP, which is fielding independent of pitching, is independent of pitching, is 3rd at 3.23, with their expected FIP also ranking up there at 4th at 3.62. That's one thing Milwaukee does well. Between Abner Uribe, Meagle, Ashby, DL Hall, they got some demons, William, in there.
Yeah, good pen. Aaron Ashby's had a really good season. He's got a 58% ground ball rate, 96th percentile, one of the best ground ball arms in the league, and his strikeout percentage is 36, which is in the 99th percentile. He's been very, very good for the Brewers this year. Sinker curve slider mix for the most part. Throws in a change and four seam every once in a while. Brewers got to continue to give credit to their pitching development system. It's just great, and they won the series. They probably wanted the sweep there, but they have a fun week. It's Cubs and then Dodgers. That is a great week for the Brewers to watch them, honestly.
Measuring stick. Let's go on to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays series and Detroit Tigers series, the Highway 4-1 series, or as we like to call it, the Ambassador Bridge series. Blue Jays won 2 out of 3. Tigers won on Friday 3-2. Spencer Torkelson walked it off. Guess who? Jeff Hoffman. Blue Jays also won on Saturday 2-1 in 10, winning their first game of the series. In 10, they penned the game, and today the Blue Jays won 4-1. They come to town to New York tomorrow. Vladimir Guerrero in the month of May has not been great. He's right now negative 0.5 in WAR, which is the lowest in the month of May. He's hitting 118, 220 on base percentage, 118 slug. This is before stats have been loaded up for today. He did hit a homer today, but it's been a tough month for Vladdy. But lo and behold, he made some comments, and we just know he's going to come to Yankee Stadium and he'll have the series of his life, and he'll be back up to normal.
Yeah, he made the key point. I expect him to hit 550 with 4 or 5 home runs, around 10 RBIs this week in the Bronx. So no worries about him. He had a very low launch angle home run. I think it was like a 16-degree launch angle for a home run he hit this weekend in Detroit. Look, I'll probably have more on the Blue Jays later this week after we recap that series. But another series loss for the Tigers. Right now, Fangraphs gives the Tigers a 24% chance of winning that division. Right now, Cleveland is the clear favorite. But I wouldn't sleep on the White Sox at this point. Maybe not winning the division, but being a playoff team. Fangraphs only gives the White Sox a 14% chance of winning or of making the playoffs. I think it should be a little bit higher. But Tigers are down to 36% chance to make the playoffs.
Do you see the comments from Guerrero this morning on his slump?
No, what did he say?
Yesterday, he said, "I'm just looking to hit one ball very hard, and it will stay in my head and my mind. I know things are going to change."
Well, Greg, he got the one ball on Sunday, and that's all he needs, I guess. Good news for the Tigers is Skubal might be back a little sooner than expected. They did a new type of surgery on his elbow. There's the scope is a lot thinner and less invasive. So I guess the return time might be a little bit quicker, which is going to be the same thing that Blake Snell is going to get, I think, potentially, which we'll talk about when we get to the Dodgers series.
They say he's going to be back by the trade deadline. Now, let me ask you a question, William. Who do the Tigers got coming up the next 2 weeks, opponents-wise?
Cleveland and Baltimore.
And then?
The Angels.
Let me just pose you this. If the Tigers don't get it right, I know they're hurt and whatever. If they don't get it right and the White Sox continue to play this way and Cleveland plays this way, and we get to July and Skubal's back, do we start talking Skubal trade or no?
Look, I think that if the Tigers are out of it, which it's hard to be fully out of it in the 3-team wildcard era, but if they are
on the Central,
outside, and in the Central, but if they're on the outside looking in, come around the trade deadline, I think they would have to absolutely do their due diligence and field calls on Tarik Skubal. I think it would be foolish not to. I know this was the all-in year for the Tigers. Unfortunately, it just has not worked out for them so far at this point in the season. And they have a ton of injuries, but also they're not hitting. They don't really have many outside of McGonigal, Green, and Colt Keith and Dingler. They don't have much in that lineup that scares you. Look, I think there's a lot of better teams in the American League. I think they should absolutely field calls on Skubal because it can help set your future up. Now, of course, it's only going to be a rental type thing for Skubal, but look, you look at the Dodgers, you could get something off the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't have Blake Snell. Who knows what his recovery is going to look like? Just delay or accelerate the inevitable. We know he's going to sign in LA after the season ends in free agency. Who knows what happens with the lockout, et cetera, but at least get something in return for the guy. Like, look how far back the Angels set themselves by not trading Shohei Ohtani before he was a free agent. And I know they were in the race that year a little bit at the deadline, so that kind of changes things. But immediately after the trade deadline, they fell off a cliff and missed the playoffs. They should field calls on Skubal.
Or he ends up in New York in the Mets.
If they're in the hunt, or you mean this winter?
No, I'm not even in the hunt. I think they just do it just to have him. I mean, it's kind of like a 3-month, test drive. Hey, come see New York, see if we're a match. It's like dating, before you get to the altar and sign the contract and get married.
Yeah, it's just a question of, okay, here's a team. What about the Brewers?
Nah. You know who I think could do it? But I don't think they have the prospect haul. It would make 100% a lot of sense.
Atlanta.
The Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers would probably be open to trading with the Cubs. They're not in the same league. I don't think they...
Say now that I'm thinking about it, say you get an Ian Happ and a Matt Shaw or a Michael Busch, one of those guys that are like on the outside looking in, one of those guys, and you package both of them, get some minor league talent in there and send it over. That's probably a more competitive offer than what LA could offer, because LA will offer you a bunch of, top 100 prospects, but they're prospects, while the Cubs, you're not going to re-up. They're saying Ian Happ. And I know this morning in that report that we said that Scooble would be back by the deadline. They're saying Matt Shaw could be a trade candidate for the Cubs. So you package Happ and Matt Shaw with some minor league talent.
Yeah, I think
the Cubs maybe you put Ballesteros in there as well, since you already got good catchers. I don't know. I'm not watching much Cubs. I'm not trying to offend Cubs fans, but again, it's Scooble.
The Cubs would definitely be one of the teams I think that would make the call. The Dodgers would be able to offer one of their kind of young arms, like a Wroblewski. Could throw a Wroblewski in there, maybe a Sheehan, because the Dodgers have a legitimate chance of re-signing Scooble. So not only, I think that any team that would be a legit factor in re-signing him, like the Dodgers, the Mets, I think the Tigers would ask more of. I don't think, the Cubs are a legitimate threat to re-sign him this winter. So that's why I bring up a team like Milwaukee. Remember, they traded for CC Sabathia many moons ago, but they have the prospect capital to go out and do it. And if they're serious about winning a World Series, this would be the exciting all-in move that could get them to that point.
But you don't think you wouldn't do it with the Cubs? You wouldn't lump in the Cubs like that?
No, I think the Cubs should absolutely be a threat to make.
And you don't think a Cub offer would be more compelling than an LA offer, giving them some proven MLB talent?
I think the Dodgers can put forth a pretty competitive offer.
Yeah, well,
with MLB talent, MLB arms, not bats.
I'm saying bats. So regardless, that's that's us fan speaking for a second. The Beltway series, William, Nationals won 2 out of 3. Dalen Lyle continues to stay hot. He went 3 for 4 and a homer on Friday as they won 3 for 2. They won 3-2, and then the Nationals won 13-3 on Saturday. Orioles won today 7-3. William, Nationals are. Hey, we talked a lot of junk about the Nationals. I'll be honest. I did, but right now they've won 6 out of their last 10. They got a good win against the O's, and then they got a good win versus the Red Series. I mean, they're knocking on the door, my guy. What do you think about the Nationals?
Yeah, the Nationals are fun. They're you're going to get a lot of fireworks if you watch the Nats this year. They lead MLB in runs scored and also runs allowed. So it's a fun recipe for a neutral to tune in. I didn't think this team would be fun at all to watch this year. A couple names to watch for them at the trade deadline. Number one is CJ Abrams. I don't know if he's a long-term shortstop. He's probably going to get moved over to second base at some point in his career. But I think they should potentially think about moving him. And, then another name potentially, do you move one of these younger guys like a sell high on a Dalen Lyle? I don't think so. I think they're going to view maybe him as like a future piece for this team, but very curious to see what happens more so with CJ Abrams. I think, shortstop is going to be a weak position at the deadline, and that could be a name that is brought up a lot. But yeah, I mean, credit to the Nationals. We thought they were going to fall off after this kind of hot start. They are still in third place in the East. They're competitive.
They've played some bad. They've competitive. They played some bad comp, but I mean, they beat bad comp. So hey, you play who's in front of you. That's coach speak. That's the only thing they can do. Yep. What do you feel about the Orioles so far? I mean, we've got a lot of Orioles talk. Yeah, that's such a.
They stink, man. I'm sorry. Like they just don't have the pitching.
Are we out? Are you out? You know my opinion on the Orioles. I'm kind of like, I don't know about this team. Are you coming along, getting on the train, buying the tickets?
I'm there. Yeah. Look, I know Gunnar had a good weekend, but on the season he's been horrible, and they don't have the pitching to be a legitimate threat. So kind of just out on the O's.
Miami, Tampa, the Citrus Series, Battle of Florida. Rays won 2 out of 3. They won 7-2 on Friday, and they won today 6-3. Rays moved to 30-15. Marlins won yesterday. They scored 8 in the top of the ninth to win it. I don't have many takeaways around here. I mean, the Rays just keep up stacking up series wins, which I feel, it's this is reminding me a lot. This week, depending on how this week goes, and I know I'll be traveling this week. But depending on how this week goes, it's going to remind me. It can either go two ways this week. This week will make me feel comfortable enough to go put money on the Rays to win the division, the AL East, the way they're playing. And I'll get flashbacks of 4th of July week last year when the Yankees played Toronto. It was the second Toronto series, and it was in Rogers where we were both like, okay, this is over. Not over, but like they're falling behind. Or it shows me that the Rays aren't really what they're set out to be. That's how I feel what can happen this week.
Yeah, to me, it feels like a carbon copy of last season, where the Blue Jays entered the season. Everyone was picking them to finish last. They got off to, actually kind of a slow start, but then they really turned it on in the summer. Everyone's like, I don't know if this is legit. And then they end up winning the division. I think it's the same thing with the Rays. Everyone was picking them to finish last. They got off to a hot start. They're 15 games over 500. The Yankees are in second. The Yankees are kind of doing the same thing that they've done every year for the past 10 years. Why can't the Rays win the division at this point?
And I'm telling you, it's carbon copy of that week of end of June. You remember that series against the Blue Jays? End of June, right before 4th of July.
4-game set in Toronto. They got swept.
Yeah. And then after that, it was curtains. The team, Blue Jays took off, and Yankees stayed doing this Yankee second place deal. I don't have any takeaways regarding the Marlins. I mean, Yuri got to turn the corner. Something's got to happen with him, man. Hasn't taken that leap.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't have much on them, to be honest.
I'll see him this week. I'm going to the game Wednesday night. Chris Sale's pitching, so I'll be pretty excited to go see Chris Sale pitch. So,
future Hall of Famer.
So that'd be nice. Talking about Chris Sale, let's talk about Atlanta-Boston, which I did a little bit of research on this series. It's the Boston City series. So the Braves used to be the Boston Braves, and there was the Red Sox. So again, Braves won 2 out of 3. Braves won Friday 3-2, and they won today 8-1. And then yesterday they were in it the whole game. Peyton Tooley and Bryce Elder pitched gems, 8 strong for both. Elder went 3 earned with 3 strikeouts. Tooley had 2 earned and 3 strikeouts. And then Wilson Contreras hit a home run in the 8th to give the Sox the lead. William, my question to you, I think I learned more about Atlanta. I feel more so about Atlanta. They can be an end, again, I keep saying they can be an end of October team. My question to you is, who is the most important player in Atlanta? Is it Matt Olson or Jake Baldwin? Which one?
Man, Drake Baldwin's been so impressive this year. I still think you got to give it to Olsen because he's the Iron Man. He's their MVP candidate. But the way Baldwin has performed in his sophomore season, he's honestly one of the players that I'm most impressed with this season because I really thought like there was going to be some type of sophomore slump. Just that's what happens in Major League Baseball when opposing staffs have more and more information on how to pitch you, and he's playing like one of the best catchers in the league. So both have been incredible. I feel like that lineup is like kind of like a collective more so than one individual. I remember Acuña's been injured, kind of their star, not kind of their star player. Riley had a home run today, so hopefully he can get it going because he's been horrible. But to answer your question, I'd probably still say Olsen, but Baldwin's right there.
You don't think that Drake Baldwin should be getting MVP votes?
Maybe.
Hey, I'm looking at the splits right now. Baldwin's hitting 301, 385, OBP, OPS of 928. And then Matt Olson, 276, 354, and 945.
How many home runs does Olson have?
14. And Baldwin has 13.
It's a legitimate race. And again, if you're making the argument that everyone was making last year for Cal Raleigh, Baldwin's doing it as a catcher, and he's leading off.
And they have the same RBI, same stolen bases, and he has 6 more hits, as in Baldwin. It's legitimate. It's a legitimate conversation. That's why I asked it,
Yeah. It's a good point. He's been very, very impressive.
Trevor Story went to the IL with the sports hernia. Another might be a lost season for Boston. We're getting there.
Yeah, I was texting with Molinex this weekend, who did our Red Sox preview. He's given up. He said they got very lucky to win on Saturday as well in that game.
Yeah, that homer, both of the pitchers. So again, let's run through 2 series here quickly. Texas, Houston. I don't have many takeaways aside from the Corey Seager injury. I don't know if you saw that. That Corey Seager is he's slumping and he's getting an MRI on his back. So it's pretty concerning. Astros won 2-0. Spencer Andretti carried a no-hit bid. He's quietly been a bright spot for Houston this year. He went 7 1/3 strong, 5 strikeouts. Been pretty good for the Astros this year. Astros won also on Saturday 4-1, and then the Rangers won today 8-0 off an Evaldi start. Again, I think the Rangers are an 81-81 team, and the Astros I think are dead.
But yeah, Altuve landed on the injured list with an oblique, so kind of just a rough season for the Astros there. Not much from that series.
And the Rangers as well. I mean, we saw Rangers baseball. It's not anything to get excited about.
No, both of those teams are pretty mid.
They got good talent. I will say that. Like your Wyatt Langfords, Yordan Alvarez is all fun. Let's talk about the Vedder Cup. San Diego versus Seattle. They're currently playing right now. It is a 1-0 ball game, end of the third. San Diego's up, but the Padres won the series. Padres won 2-0 on Friday, and they won Saturday 7-4. The Padres are a crazy team because when you look at them metrically, William, I don't know if you've seen their metrics. They are not one of the greatest metrically looking teams. The Padres are the worst in MLB in average, hitting at 223. Their star player, Fernando Tatis, hasn't hit a single home run. It is one of the craziest things. They're doing it with guys like Randy Vasquez and Michael King. Like this team is doing it with another rookie manager. Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill's not hitting great either. And they're on pace. I think it's to win 100 games right now. They're currently 27-18, hanging right behind the Dodgers, which is nuts.
It really doesn't make any sense. As a team, they have a 90 WRC plus. The only teams with a worse WRC plus than the Padres this season are the Giants, Rockies, Red Sox, and Mets. Those are some of the worst record-wise teams in the entire league, but they continue to win games. If you look at their Pythagorean wins, which is their expected win-loss, right now, they are overperforming the record by 4 games. So they're 27-18, projected 27-22. That means that some of this luck will probably even out at some point. Now, the counter is, they have one of the, if not the best bullpens in all of baseball that could help continue carry them. Mason Miller had a 4-out save on Friday. Adrian Morejon's been turning it on a little bit. Jason Adam, we know the guys there, but I just don't know with the lineup. Like the Tatis thing, I did a deep dive, posted it to Instagram and everything this week. He's got to get the launch angle up, but he's not hitting home runs. It's weird.
He's now playing second base too for him. They've moved him from the outfield in. They're number one in WAR for relief pitching, but again, they keep on winning. Seattle continues to just be middling, kind of a disappointment. Again, they're currently 22-25. Cal Raleigh hit the IL last week. Brendan Donovan just got back. Now he's back on the IL, which caused them to promote Colt Emerson, who's up tonight in the game right now. So
the good news for the Mariners, even though it's a 22-25 start, very slow, very disappointing. They're only a game and a half back of the A's because they play in probably the worst division in all of baseball. So they have plenty of time to just have a couple hot weeks and make the playoffs, win the division.
And the A's, for one thing we know, do not have any pitching.
Nope.
Like today was a perfect example. The game was what was it? I was keeping track of it while watching other games. I was watching the Cubs game, but the A's were playing the Giants this weekend. It was a 2-1 game up until the top of the eighth, where the Giants came in and put 8 runs. The Giants this weekend ended up playing the A's, like I said, and the Giants won the series, winning 10-1 and 6-4 on Saturday. A's won on Friday, 5-2. But again, we do know that's one thing that the A's need to do is get some pitching if they want to be a competitive team. They're a team that reminds me a lot. They're like, you know who they are? They're like a juiced up White Sox in some sense.
Yeah, I could see it. With like lineup wise, they got the power. They have less pitching than the White Sox. At least the White Sox have Martin and some bullpen demons. There's like no one on this A's team that scares me arm wise.
Luis Severino. Well, yeah, he gets pinated.
Yeah. They call this one the Bay Bridge series. They've always called it that, but it's just not that anymore with the A's playing in Sacramento.
Well, they still have a bridge, the Sacramento Bridge. I'll be seeing it this week on Thursday.
Are you going to a game?
Sure. No, I'm actually flying back Monday because I have to record the podcast Monday night. So we gotta, so Memorial Day Monday, we gotta get the pod back. Dude, you know how difficult it is me flying to Sacramento? It is the most
long flight.
You know, it is easier for me to go to Seattle or to San Francisco than to go to Sacramento, which doesn't make any sense. I literally have to fly, lay over in the West Coast, and then get to Sac. It is a 9-hour flight in total.
So where do you fly? Like LA and then go to Sacramento?
That's what I'm doing on the way back. I'm flying out that from LA back, but I'm going to Utah first. So
you can go hang out with AJ DeBonsa.
Go hang out with BYU. Go hang out with the Utah Jazz, Jaren Jackson, all them folks. So yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be there for like an hour and then I'll be on my way. But regardless, good series. Let's move on. The Ohio Cup. The Guardians won 2 out of 3. Guardians won today 10-3. 6 homers in the Guardians today, most homers in a game since 2019. They won Saturday 7-4, and then the Reds won 7-6 on Friday. Again, both Ohio teams are competitive. Again, pretty fun series, lots of runs. Again, this is only just bragging rights for the state of Ohio because nobody outside of the state of Ohio cares about the Ohio Cup unless you were a native Ohioan or lived in Ohio. Debating the Reds and the Guardians is like debating whatchamacallit. It'd be like debating what's better, Arizona or Arizona State in football.
Hey, I care about this series because I picked the Guardians to win the division earlier in the week, so I got to stick to my guns. And what do? They proved me right. Sunday, 6 home runs, like you said. J-Ram, Rocchio, Angel Martinez, who's had a really good season, Chase DeLauder, Kyle Manzardo with the 2 home run game. They have been playing good baseball. They got Detroit and Philly this week. 4 games set with the Tigers. 4 games set with the Tigers in Detroit. They could wipe them out.
Big week. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, as you said earlier. Let's move on. Let's talk to Missouri, the I-70 series, the Kansas City St. Louis series, William. Let's talk about it. The tarps off series. Did you see that? What happened? The tarps off series?
Oh, I saw it, and I am prepared to make a proclamation. I have been out on the Cardinals. I have been out on the Cardinals all year. We know this. Until this weekend. It's not because of the baseball on the field. It's because of the fans in the stands. Tarps off guy. How can you hate on the Cardinals when they have guys, 2 sections waving their shirts? The energy was legit. It was electric. And Ole Marmol, shout out to him. He bought 2 sections. So they were doing the tarps off on Friday, won the game, walk-off home run in extras, or walk-off hit in extras. And then Marmol says, I'm buying out 2 sections, Saturday and Sunday. And these guys are waving their shirts shirtless Saturday and Sunday. And look, we need more of this in American sports. Like you compare it to English soccer or European soccer, fans are chanting, singing the entire game, these elaborate chants. And so many American sporting events, especially baseball, like fans can just be kind of boring. It's quiet. We need more energy like this. We need ultras like this. So honestly, one of my favorite stories of the year. I'm in on the Cardinals now.
Oh, you're in on the Cardinals. Hey, welcome to the bandwagon, William. Just know that you bought the stock a little bit late.
That's
Jordan
fine.
Walker this series, 303, 13 homers, 34 RBIs, 978 OPS. William, he's been a revelation, as we talked about. But again, a great series win for the Cardinals. The Friday game was crazy. I was watching it with my buddy Barron. We were at the bar. Unfortunately, you know what I hate? Can I just make a proclamation here on this podcast? This could be clipped up everywhere. I hate streaming services, how they've taken over sports. Because, I used to be able to go to my favorite bar establishment, get a hamburger, get a couple beers, and watch, a random, for example, basketball game. I could watch the Utah Jazz play the Golden State Warriors at 10 o'clock at night. Or I would have a random San Diego, Arizona series play. Oh, but guess what? Because streaming services have taken over, they're all on Prime. The bar owner does not have Amazon Prime. The bar owner doesn't have Peacock to watch sports. He only has freaking cable. Like, what are we doing here, guys? So, me and him, we were stuck watching the reruns of the PGA Championship at 9 o'clock at night at the bar. And we had our phones out watching the game. Again, Cardinals came back on Friday night. That was an electric game. Pinch hit walk-off in the 11th. And then after in the 10th, they tied it to come back in. Dustin May's had a great year. JoJo Romero's been pretty good. And Riley O'Brien. Those are three guys at the deadline we're going to have to be looking at,
If the Cardinals fall off, but right now they're a game and a half back in the division. They have a chance. Right now, the Cardinals fans would be upset if they sold at the deadline. On the bar point, it's fair. I mean, Game 7 of the second round, Cavs-Pistons, is on Amazon Prime Video. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's horrible.
The funny thing is where I live, there's a lot of New Yorkers out here, and we got the Knicks fever coming around here in Miami. They're wearing their shirts and everything, and so I hit up one of my buddies from the gym, and he's like, "Hey, we're getting a group of us, and we're going to the bar like we always do on Friday nights, and we're gonna go watch ball." And he was like, "Oh, great." And then he realized, "Oh, the game's on Prime, right?" And I was like, "Oh, crap, the bar doesn't have Prime." I literally was stuck watching NHRA drag racing at 10 o'clock at night instead of watching a random San Diego, Arizona ball game. It's terrible, man. Terrible. So
it's terrible.
Regardless. Next series, we got a couple of series. We've been on it for a while. William, Dodgers won this weekend, 3-game sweep, 6-0 on Friday, 15-2 Saturday, and 10-1. I think the biggest news is Blake Snell's out until late July or early August. He's getting surgery on Tuesday for some loose bodies, similar to the injury of Skubal. I think from my interpretation of the article written by The Athletic, with the nanotech arthroscopic surgery, is that it's dependent on how big the loose body is. If the loose body is bigger than certain millimeter, then they're going to have to get the actual arthroscopic that's been used instead of the nano, which the nano is a much smaller, that's why the whole Skubal thing was great, because it was such a small, loose body. And this is me geeking out right now, but it reduced inflammation. The incision cut had to be smaller. You're damaging less of the body. So that's why he's throwing supposedly right here soon, allegedly.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Look, with Snell, he could have 3 regular season starts as long as he is ready for the postseason. He's going to come in game 2, whatever, of the NLDS and throw 8 scoreless and be one of the best pitchers in the league. That's what Snell does. So as long as he's healthy for the playoffs, Dodgers will be fine.
Hey, after we had our conversation Friday at work, Ohtani is heating up a little bit this weekend with the bat. So
I'm telling you, you have the healing touch. Whenever you send me a text about some guy that's playing horribly or some team that's playing horribly, they turned it on all of a sudden.
Who was it this weekend? It was Volpe, right? It was Volpe turned it on today.
Volpe, the Giants, they had a split 4-game set with the Dodgers, then won the series with the A's. I can't remember some of the others, but healing touch.
We should keep track of that, We got to keep track of that on this podcast. So
you have to keep it. You can't force it. You can't be like, Yankees suck right now. Healing touch. You have to be honest with your healing touch text.
The Mets. I said, what was I saying this weekend about the Mets? And guess what? They won the series.
Yeah.
Again. And then finally, our last series that is actually not a rivalry We talked about the Vedder Cup, the Freeway Series, the Bay Bridge, Lone Star, Ohio Cup. Oh, I forgot another one. The Battle of Pennsylvania is what we're calling it. The Phillies swept the Pirates 11-9. Win of the season for Philadelphia. They were down 6-0, and they come back to win it. Schwarber with 2 homers, RBI double for Harper. Saturday, Christopher Sanchez was elite, 8 strong, 0 strikeout, 0 earned, 13 strikeouts, 6-0 win. He has a scoreless inning streak of 29.2 innings. Phillies are 500, and they won today 6-0. Wheeler 7 strong, 0 earned, 8 strikeouts. They're 15-4 since Mattingly took over. It seems like firing their manager is what makes them turn up.
Yeah. Mattingly's bringing the juice. Harper and Schwarber are playing at MVP paces right now. I think Schwarber is like on pace to hit 70-something home runs. I know it's still early, but he's up to 20 on the season. Those guys are mashing. The rest of the lineup still really isn't necessarily mashing, but those guys are carrying. We know they have the pitching staff to make the playoffs. Sanchez, Wheeler, Painter, Luzardo, 4 good arms there. Nola's had a really bad start, but they were able to recover and win that game on Saturday. And yeah, Phillies game over 500. Fangraphs now gives them a 65% chance of winning the division, and there's a long way to go. They're 8 back of Atlanta. I don't think they're going to win the division, but they should absolutely be a wild card team. They got Cincinnati and Cleveland this week, both at home, so they're playing both of the Ohio teams before they go out on the West Coast. But yeah, Phillies, good baseball.
Good baseball. And then finally, Colorado, Arizona. Arizona wins the series, winning 2 out of 3. They won today off 2 homers from Corbin Carroll. They won 8-6. It was pretty much, the game was over. It was 8-1 till the 8th, where they scored 4 runs. The Rockies, they scored. It was an 8-2 game. The game was over at the start. And the Rockies won yesterday 4-2. 12 hits for Colorado. William, any thoughts on that series?
Honestly, no thoughts on that one.
It stinks. You got to be a special level of I can't say the word on the podcast, but I think you guys know what I want to say. You have to be a special level of bad not to have any rivalries. Like, I looked up if the Colorado Rockies had any like rivals, but no.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Diamondbacks, they're both expansion franchises, so I guess that's probably the main reason. They would probably both tell you that they're rivals with the Dodgers, but every team in that division probably feels like they're rivals with the Dodgers.
Do the Dodgers care that they're their rival? No, they only care about the Giants. Padres.
Yeah, exactly. And they would tell you they don't care about the Padres. They only are rivals with the Giants.
Giants, yeah. That concludes another episode, William. That is Sunday. Make sure you follow us on Twitter /X, Locked In Baseball Pod. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, trying to get up to 500 subscribers. Instagram as well. Make sure you follow us, and the TikTok. William, this week's gonna be a crazy week, as we said. I mean, we'll have boots on the ground Wednesday. We'll have some content. I'll be at Loan Depot. We'll have a different seating experience at Home Depot on Wednesday. So we'll definitely get some pictures on that one.
Much different than the WBC experience, I'm sure.
Well, I'll be in a box on Wednesday. I got box seats for Wednesday, so it's gonna be a different experience. I might be even deader than sitting in the stands.
Is it a day game?
It's a night game at 6.
Okay. Should be fun.
So I'll be there. Got a couple boys rolling up. We'll be in the box, hanging out, watching ball. Maybe I do a 9 for 9 challenge. Maybe do 9 for 9 challenge in the box. Maybe get a little rowdy. Get the tarps off, maybe, or no?
Yeah, bring the tarps off section to Loan Depot. Yeah,
I don't think I could do that with the people that I'm going with, and like the people I'm working for. I could do that with the tarps off. So I don't think that's the smartest thing to me.
I feel like you got to be in college to do it,
or you got to be a special level of intoxicated and inebriation.
If you're, yeah. But enjoy.
Maybe that's something. Maybe they do something at a Mets games. I don't think that's a New York Yankees thing to do. I think that's a Mets thing.
It's a Midwestern thing to do. I feel like I don't think any of the East Coast teams would do it. Like, definitely not New York. I think it has to be like, I could see the Cubs doing it in the bleachers. I could see a bunch of dudes just ripping their shirts off.
I could see that. Definitely in Minnesota on Friday night with that dollar beer. What is it? They have $2 beers that they have.
Crazy. Yeah.
We gotta ask Joe about that. But yeah, definitely. Podcast schedule for the week, boys and girls, is up in the air. As you guys know, I am flying out to Northern California on Thursday, and I am coming, and then I'm getting boots on the ground Wednesday night. So again, we'll definitely have a Memorial Day pod, rain or shine. We will be recording that one. I will find a way to record the Memorial Day, but the midweek pod is up in the air this week. So again, make sure you keep it locked, stay locked in. William, anything to close out?
Nope, that's all I got. If I got to do a solo one, I'll do a solo one later in the week. I know you're traveling, so we'll figure it out. We'll have some content for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll be back later in the week and definitely on Memorial Day. Enjoy the week. Weather's getting nice, and enjoy the baseball as well. Until next time, catch you guys then. Peace out.